Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your hosts, special effects makeup artist supreme, Alayna Morales, and your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to let everyone know we're here for episode 2 of Horror 421, the podcast. I want to thank everyone who joined us for the first episode. It was a hit out of the box, so Alayna and I really appreciate it. We're up to almost 300 views on YouTube. We have 15 subscribers, so if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and like it and share it with your friends. We thought the first episode went really well, and we have a special episode lined up today. So please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, because from what we can tell, it's available almost everywhere. So you can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, a lot of the podcast apps. So you can find Horror 421, the podcast, pretty much anywhere. But today our subject is going to be the movie Midsummer. And we'll focus a little bit on the director's cut. But before we get into that, Alayna has a very special guest she's going to introduce. So take it away, Alayna.
Hello, lovies. So today we have Mr. Dustin. He is my love. Also, he works at Nightmares Gate Haunted House with me as well. So he is an actor extraordinaire, also known as Dr. or Mr. McGavick.
It depends on what the character is doing.
At the general moment in time.
Yeah.
So he is here with us today to discuss Midsommar, which is probably one of his favorites. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. All right, Dustin. Alayna and I gave brief introductions last week, so people are kind of up to speed with us and our horror background. So we want to give you the same opportunity. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit, but just tell us a little bit how you fell in love with horror and, how you met this lovely young lady, and then we can get into the topic of the show today.
So as far as horror, I fell in love with horror because of my dad. My dad watched horror movies mostly. The Crow was one of his favorite movies.
Awesome.
Horror movie, whatever, more action than horror, but just that dark goth look and feel to a film I had never seen before. And I saw that pretty young, probably too young, but that movie and The Prophecy, I don't know if you've ever seen those movies.
Yep.
With Christopher Walken playing Gabriel. And those are pretty much horror movies. And that was kind of my introduction because of him. He introduced me to those type of movies, and I just fell in love with them, and I've loved them ever since. And that was something that me and him did a lot. We did a lot of movie watching together. And so we would go see like Underworld in theaters whenever those came out. Blade, huge Blade fan. We were big Blade fans. And so that was a lot of my love for that stemmed from that time I spent with him watching films. And then as far as us meeting, I mean, that was Dragon Con.
Mm-hmm. Dragon Con. What was it, 2017? It was 2017, yes.
Yep, it was 2017.
Okay, so you guys been together almost 5 years.
Mm-hmm. October 3rd. All
right. Well, awesome. All right. Well, we can go ahead and dive into today's topic. I'm glad Dustin has a real passion for Midsommar. I was talking to them, Dustin and Alayna, right before we went on, and I told them that when I first saw the movie in the theater, I came out not really liking it very much, probably hating it. And it was actually one of those films that kind of just gnawed at my brain after I left, and it convinced me to like it after I thought about it. So I watched it again, and my opinion changed just because of the way it was shot, the story that Ari Aster told. I just wasn't ready to accept that story, I guess, when I first saw it. So it took me a little while to really appreciate it for what it was. But I'm going to be quiet for a second because Dustin had a different opinion when he first saw it. He kind of liked it at the gate. So Dustin, tell me a little bit about your first experience with Midsommar.
So my first experience with it was we went to go see it in theaters because YouTube had decided that I would love this film, and it was right. So I had seen the trailers months ahead of the release, and I was just like, I've got to see this film. This looks incredible to me. It was, psychedelic and psychological. I could see that I was going to really like the art direction of the film, and just from the trailer. So I was extremely hyped about the film. And so there was that, and Toy Story was the other film.
Listen,
that was coming out in theaters.
Love horror, I really do, but I just really wanted to see Toy Story. Like, I had my heart set on, I was thinking about it all day. Like, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go see Woody and Buzz, like, yeah. And then he was like, let's go see this one. And I love horror movies in the theater because you can get that real immersive experience. So I was like, let's go, let's do it. So we get there, and I didn't know what to expect because I didn't see any trailers of the movie prior at all, ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you really didn't know what you were getting into. Okay.
No, I didn't. I don't know why it just skipped me. Like, I didn't see anything. I just went into it kind of blind, had no knowledge there.
But yeah, so that was, but for me, I mean, I loved it in the theaters. I thought it was an awesome movie, an awesome experience.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck are we watching? Like, I think the boyfriend really, like, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, I literally looked at him and I said, listen, if this guy doesn't die in the first 15 minutes, I'm leaving. Like, I'm going to punch him in the throat. I want to leave. Like, I do not like this man. And it was such a visceral reaction I had to that. So it was just, I think he really ruined the movie for me. The Christian, yeah. Yeah. Christian, however she was saying it, 'cause she says it weird.
Yeah, he wasn't a very pleasant fellow. I did love I did love the way the movie opened because it kind of showed Danny's what word am I looking for?
Descent into depression. And
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Her descent into depression, and she obviously wasn't the only one because of the way her sister committed suicide and murder, all in one fell swoop. So, and for her, I really felt for her from the opening scene, and just kind of the way her boyfriend was dismissive with her, even from the beginning, kind of like you said, really set him up as a douche character for me. But yeah, there's so many layers to this movie that after I got all over the initial shock of watching it, there's so many hidden things in it too that makes you think. And as a writer, it made me think a lot after I watched it a couple of times. So what were some of the things that, that kind of made you think when you saw the movie? What were some of the things that kind of brought something out of you when you saw it? Because it brought a lot of things out in my brain after I viewed it a couple of times.
I want to say that I really liked the art direction of the film. The way the shots were designed, like when they were driving down the road, how they flipped the camera upside down.
Yeah.
And I really liked the scenic stuff that they had, and every bit of the movie was shot in complete brightness. And, for it to be such a dark film and it to be filmed, in such bright and pretty spaces, I think kind of made it even more surreal, kind of what you were looking at. The colors were very primary colors. Like, you had the whites, you had blue, yellow, and red. Like, there was nothing else besides your primary color palette, which I thought was really cool too. And then when they kind of kept going into the descent of madness with was it mushroom tea that they were drinking? Mm-hmm. And how every other, like, if you didn't watch it and didn't notice, like, the flowers were breathing.
Yeah.
I think people's eyes were moving. I thought that was actually super unsettling, too, as well. And I actually really liked that because I think you kind of were put in their headspace as well. And not only in your own, like, ew, this is gross. This is, like, hurting my soul. But I think you kind of went into that madness with them. And I thought that was a really cool thing to do as an art director because you don't think about that stuff all the time. The makeup for the characters, especially when the guy was open from the back and he was like,
oh, hey, yeah.
That was beautiful.
What was that called? They had a name.
Blood Eagle, yeah.
Blood Eagle.
Didn't they do that in Silence of the Lambs as well? Or was that more? I think that was the frontal opening.
That was the frontal opening. The idea is that you pull the lungs out.
Yeah.
And the person is still alive, but it's incredibly painful and they're suffering. If everybody knows about Blood Eagles now because of the show Vikings, and there was a couple of scenes with that, but
I thought that was just aesthetically pretty, and that sounds really morbid, but whoever did the makeup on that, kudos, because that was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that was Simon. That was and those couple of characters, they didn't stay around super long.
They were kind of annoying anyway.
Yeah.
They were. But also another thing I think that stuck with me and resonated a lot was the part when they blew the powder at Christian, where he was like, he's there, he's present, but he can't he can't speak or move. Like, he has to feel every bit of pain, but he can't express any emotion. And I thought that was really what he deserved. But I thought that was really uncomfortable, because can you imagine, like, burning up in a bear suit and now you're...
Yeah, not really. What I got from Christian a lot, though, is he definitely was a taker and not much of a giver. One of the things that there were a lot of things that upset me about his character, but he forgot her birthday. Really? Okay. And then the other thing was just the straight up theft of Josh's thesis. I mean, he's like, oh, well, I think I'm going to do the same thing you're doing. And Josh is like, what the hell, man? So, his character development as far as being a villain for me, that was really well done. So he did a great job at playing
very fast too. It did not take long at all.
Right.
But
mine, for me, really, like, what stuck with me the most was the intro with the when she, all of that build up, and she finally finds out that her sister has done something terrible. She's killed her parents. Just that screaming, that long shot into the snow.
Yeah.
She's just yelling and distraught, and you can tell that this is like an immense emotional damaging moment that will never go away. This is going to damage somebody for the rest of their life.
And when he's walking down the street, and you can hear her too, and he's trying to put the emotions together because he's not ready for that.
Yeah. He you can see that he's just not ready to commit to this level of help for this person that he only kind of likes, really. And so that's when you really start to hate him more and more. But that, and just I guess that was the one scene that, like, because it's so early in the film and there's so much more movie, but just that, I was in the theaters and all that hit me, and I was just like, wow, this is intense. This is going to be a very intense film.
Yeah, I remember the part when the camera panned back to, and I forget what Danny's sister's name was. Do you guys remember? I don't remember.
I just saw the film
ago.
I don't think they.
Maybe they never said her name, but anyway, when they panned back and they showed the screen, the laptop screen, and then it showed the dialogue between the two, and Danny, desperate, like, just keeps messaging her over and over again, and so I was like, oh wow, So apparently there's something in that family that isn't good, and that leads you down the path of when they get to the festival, or whatever you want to call it, the Midsummer. How do you say that the guy who invited him, is it Pelle?
Is it Pele? Pele? I think it's Pele.
Yeah, Pele.
Her sister's name was Terry, by the way. Sorry, I had to fact check that. I was going to irritate me.
Well, that's cool. But how Pele was, a lot of ways, the exact opposite of Christian. He was listening to Danny. He was trying to make sure she had what she needed. And you could see, I know it's probably considered like a cult, but they were accepting her and bringing her into the fold, whereas Christian was pushing her away.
Yeah.
So that made her decision at the end of the movie pretty easy, I think, in her brain, after it's all said and done. But anyway,
I really enjoyed that relationship between them two, Pele and Danny, because even when she went to the apartment, when they found out she was actually going, he was the only one that sat there and actually was trying to have a genuine conversation with her about where they were going, and that he was giving genuine consolement. I think that's the word I'm looking for, to her. And then throughout the film, you notice how she didn't have that sense of belonging with anybody. She didn't really have any friends kind of that you saw throughout the movie, because no one was calling to wish her happy birthday either, you know? Then she didn't have that sense of family anymore because her whole entire family is gone. So the only time you saw her genuinely happy or show any type of emotion was when she was with the whole entire, you know, the people there. When she was dancing in the circle, and when she had that moment of sobbing when she found Christian with the other girl, they all sobbed with her, and that was her sense of belonging, you know? She had someone to express emotion with rather than being kind of brushed off.
Right.
I thought that was actually really cool. And especially at the end, that's when she's smiling because she found that she has her found family, you know, her chosen found family. But I need to know if she had therapy afterwards. That's all. Just need to know.
I don't know. You think there'll be a sequel? That doesn't look like a movie that would lend itself.
No,
to
I mean, you killed your boyfriend, so I think that probably made you feel better. I think that was the one thing.
He kind of.
She was too gone on psychedelics to really make any real decisions. She's just kind of nodding at stuff and you know,
right.
on fire.
I love that dig she made at Christian though at the table when she was saying, what was the other couple's name, the American couple? They were British. What were their names?
I know what you're talking about.
I just forgot their names.
Characters. Yeah, I can't.
Oh, are you talking about the ones that kind of exited early?
Yeah. What were their names?
Connie and Simon.
So I thought it was funny that she was at the table going, why did he leave without her? And then she looked at Christian and she was like, I can see you doing something like that, but not him. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah.
Well, their retirement plan at age 72, I don't think I can get down with that.
Probably not. I want to be Betty White, you know? I want to do the thing.
R.I.P. Betty White. Yeah. But that actually brought me in mind of an old sci-fi show that used to come on called Logan's Run. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
I did hear of that one. I've never watched it.
Never seen it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, but they had like a deal where people could only live until they're 32, and then they basically killed them. So the human lifespan is 32 years. So they would kill them after 32, and that's what started off Logan's Run. Logan was like, I don't want to fucking die when I'm 32. So he takes off and he takes a person with him. It's like, no, screw that. So that was kind of the plot behind Logan's Run. Now there's a lot of, I don't know if anybody's into sci-fi and is watching this, you're probably saying you're missing out on all kinds of stuff. I said, yeah, but this is a horror podcast and I don't remember all that crap. I do remember that though.
It's an all the thing podcast. We can talk about it.
It is an all thing podcast, but my memory on Logan's Run is limited to that I remember they got killed when they were 32. So at least they gave you 40 more years with Midsummer. So
I think it's an interesting thing because, you know, these American characters or wherever, you know, these outside characters don't have, it's about a relationship with death that we just don't have in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, your death leads to giving life. It's a sacrifice into another, you know, you're breathing life into another life. And we just don't have that. We fear death. We run away from it. We, you know, it's a very,
that's actually a poetic way to think about it.
That is
accurate too.
Well, yeah, but that's the idea, right? Like, you know, these people are entering this culture that is so alien.
Yeah.
And they're alien to it. And so they're doing what Americans typically are seen doing, which is stomping all over this thing that they don't see the beauty in, but it has beauty. Yeah. But if we don't see it, then we don't care. You know, like, whatever. I don't care about your tree. I don't care about, you know, your whatever ritual or
which is funny because Americans live so recklessly. Like, why would we not care that much about death when we live so recklessly as humans? Like, you know?
It's fast paced, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought that was really pretty, minus the time the guy jumped and he went foot first because that was dumb.
Yeah,
That was dumb.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I mean, you just saw the lady do it the proper way. You just watched her. She just dove head first, done, finished. One question I do have for you guys is, and I'm sure it is, but did Pele target Danny in the very beginning to come over and be the May Queen? I'm sure it's probably.
I don't think so.
I questioned that myself,
I don't think so.
actually. I also questioned, like, did he have a part in killing Danny's family too? Like, what if?
No.
But that's a far fetch.
Yeah,
that is definitely far fetch.
That's stretching.
That's a
super
definite
far.
conspiracy theory. However,
Yeah.
but like you said, I think he might have done more of like picking her. I think they always centered around that relationship between them two, and the way he spoke to her, and then the way she was always looking at the pictures of the May Queen. They kind of set that up for that moment. So I'm going to agree with you on that. Yeah, I think that he pegged that well.
Well, it was really more of a question because I'm not sure. It seems like maybe he brought her over for that purpose, and then in the other, like, who brought the other couple over?
His brother, the other one that sacrificed himself in the fire in the temple.
Okay, yeah, and that's the one that he thought it was going to be painless because they gave him some whatever, and then
which doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he started screaming, and I'm like, oh, he's like probably thinking to himself, these fuckers just lied to me.
This hurts like hell. We saw the film with our friend Corwin, and that's the first thing he said. The guy goes, "Take of the yew tree and feel no pain," and he goes, "Bull fucking shit! The yew tree ain't gonna do shit for you. You're gonna feel every bit of that." And sure enough, because he had never seen the film before.
Right. I loved Corwin's reaction though when the other kid he peed on the ancestral tree. He was like, "Oh no!" That was his reaction was absolutely priceless, as it should have been, because that was completely inappropriate for that guy to just piss all over this ancestral tree. I did not expect that. He was like, "It's just a tree." I was like, "He's about to die. He's dying fast."
That's a big part of the film, though, is not understanding what you're doing. You're just stomping around this place, fumbling around on these very important things to this culture, and you just, and then you're offended. I didn't do anything wrong. Well, you just don't understand what you've done, and it's just that clash.
Yeah, he didn't realize he was peeing all over like actual ashes of people that have sacrificed their beings, for that moment.
Yeah. Well, the only defense he had in that moment is he was truly ignorant of that fact. Now, if you fast forward to Josh, when dude told him, "Nope, you can't take pictures, you can't come in here, blah blah blah," and he completely disregards it. Yeah.
I didn't like his character at all.
Well, that was Christian's brother, the same guy that ended up knocking him off, right? He had the Mark mask on. The skin mask, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when he came into the I believe
I actually don't know who was behind that mask. I actually questioned that. I wasn't sure if it was one of the leaders or
I thought it was Christian's brother, but I might have to go back and look at that.
Pele's brother?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Pele's brother, not Christian. I got Christian on the brain. No, Pele. Yeah. I got Christian on the brain.
With the person who does the actual book, was that from Inbred Nature?
That was, I think, meant to be.
Because isn't that a thing? Like you have to be an inbred to have that. I don't remember.
I think that's how they used to see it. The ancestry, the bloodlines were kept pure.
Okay.
And they kind of alluded to that a little bit whenever Christian asked about the incest. Which, if you catch that early enough, they say that, we need to bring outsiders in order to breed, because
right.
They know that if they mix straight line, they're going to have genetic deformities,
Yeah,
so.
Well, we saw in the one character, which put me back in mind of Hereditary a little bit. the one.
I haven't watched that yet.
Okay, well, you'll have to. Maybe that's a future podcast we talk about, but that movie's kind of
messed up. I think I know the ending with the head thing, but I don't know the whole entire story, and I would is it more of a slow burn in general?
Yeah, it is in general. It's more of a slow burn. And Dustin, have you seen Hereditary yet? Okay, yeah, you guys will definitely need to check that one out. That's another Ari Aster film.
Yep.
It's another one of those movies. When I first watched it, I didn't really like it that much, but it was another one of those where I thought about it and like, I don't like it as much as Midsummer. I'm trying to say it correctly, but I say Midsummer all the time. So,
I think people also mentioned in the Ari Aster films, like in Hereditary, she had that noise that she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this movie, they had the thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, kind of those two concepts that are just basic noises, but they're kind of unsettling at the same time. So I thought that was also cool. I meant to say that before, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ari Aster, I don't know how many films he has out there. Didn't he do the one, The Lighthouse? I haven't seen that yet. I think that's
I haven't
one of his
seen that one
movies.
either.
It's on Shudder, isn't it?
No.
It's on one of the
Oh,
streaming
yeah.
services. Maybe it's on Amazon Prime. It's somewhere.
It is on Amazon, I think,
It was on
but
one of those.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear great things. I hear it's really good.
It's
Yeah.
very depressing. I heard it's rough, and I think I don't know if Ari Aster didn't do The Green Knight. That was just an A24.
Yeah, it's
That
an
was- yeah,
A24
that was
film.
A24.
Right, it was just an A24 film, which is another one I want to.
Did you
see
watch
soon.
it yet?
I haven't seen that either, so I
Yeah.
definitely want to see that. I
It's
want to see
based
the
on a
new.
poem, right?
Yeah, it's around King Arthur's.
Yeah.
Round Table.
Yeah. I definitely want to see that, and I want to see the that movie Lamb.
Yes, I saw those. It's doing it again to me. YouTube's knows what I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
I saw that trailer and was like, oh yeah, definitely gonna love this.
I actually wanted to go to the theater to see that, but it didn't play around here. So, I don't know what kind of theatrical run it had, but I think it's available to rent now. But
Oh really? I thought it hadn't even been in theaters yet.
no, it had a theatrical run, but
Limited one.
yeah, it was very limited. So it didn't come to Augusta, Georgia. I can tell you that. And but then they had it on theater on demand for like $20, and I was
I was
like,
about to say
nah.
that you could pay $25 to watch it in your house.
Yeah, so nah, I'll wait. But I think it's available to rent now, and you can straight up buy it. I think for $12 on digital. That's one I kind of might want to wait on a DVD release and pick that up.
I hope Terrifier will be in the movie theaters in February, because then we can go see it when we're at Days.
Yeah, it's probably
so
going
much
to be
cooler if
streaming.
it was.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah,
That's
it'll
a
be.
movie I would love to see in the theater because the noises and it's loud and
It's just a good old slasher movie
Yeah.
awesome.
with an amazing character.
And it's
yeah.
just made up of facial expressions because he doesn't speak, and it's so weird and creepy. It's awesome.
Yeah. I was a big fan of that first movie. I ended up getting it on DVD too. So,
You actually did that.
Yeah, I need to get the Blu-ray of
That
that.
was good.
yeah. Well, like you said, the social media knows what I like and what I look for. So they popped up the ad for this thing. I said,
Right.
yeah, I'll buy that. So I hit the click button.
Have you seen the Terror Threads? Shout out Terror Threads. Have you seen their sweaters of the Terrifier shirts? They're awesome. They have some awesome merch for Terrifier.
Yeah, I've seen
I
it,
think
and I've
Fright
seen
Rag's got a few, but not.
I've seen
not
the
like Terror Threads.
the t-shirts too from the official site. They're pretty off the chain too. I like all that stuff. So, but yeah. All right. What else do we want to talk about with Midsommar? We're approaching the 30-minute mark of the podcast, so we'll keep it. We'll keep it relatively
I'm
short.
gonna go ahead
today.
and make it awkward. We're gonna talk about that scene.
What scene? I don't know what you're talking about.
The scene.
What do you mean?
Scene with them mating, and then they had all the naked ladies
I don't
in
get
there.
why everybody thinks that's so disturbing. There was nothing.
It's so muffed up. That's why. Like, there's a bunch of naked old ladies. Like, there's naked grandmas in there. First of all,
there are people that have paid a lot more money
Naked
for that
grandma!
experience than.
Wow, you did.
Well, it was. I tell you, it was awkward watching it in the theater with one of my best friends and his wife. That was kind of
Yeah.
awkward. And then
Really?
the laughter that we heard throughout the theater wasn't a hey, that's a funny laughter. It was a nervous laughter. It was like exactly that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see full frontal though.
Oh yeah.
Like, I did not expect that at all. Like, I didn't expect to see Bush. I saw all of it. It was a lot going on in there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think I didn't realize her age up until I watched the director's cut when Pele was talking about how she got her
her blood. She just.
she was 15. They give you permission at 15 that you're
Oh, yeah.
allowed to, not procreate, but have sex because it's a very natural thing. It's not seen as anything else, it's just very natural. So I didn't realize she's only fucking 16 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so this makes it even weirder. She's got to be like the holder of the new, and it's
and what they spiked his drink with, that was kind of nasty too. But
well, he had a bad trip, and he even said, "I don't want to have a bad trip," and he indeed had a very bad one.
Oh yeah.
But when the guy just looks at him and claps his hands at him, and he's just like, "Why'd you do that? Why?"
That's really cool.
Well, as far as that scene goes, I don't know if disturbed is the right word for me. It was awkward. I don't know if I was disturbed by it. I think the most disturbing thing about it for me was the longevity of the scene. I'm like, dude, I get it. I mean,
I think that's on purpose, though.
Yeah.
Have you had enough? Well, tough shit. Get a little bit more.
But I think it finalized that moment we had been waiting the entire movie for Danny and Christian to be just completely shattered, because I was getting tired of it. He was such a douchebag, but that really pissed me off, and I was like, listen, I hope he gets stabbed, and it needs to be soon. But when she saw it and that moment, and she already knew. In that, and then when she started screaming again, that screaming scene where it's this long, outdrawn cry of desperation.
Everybody.
That was cool. I like that when they had the shared experience, when all the women surrounded her and like they
mimic expression.
Yeah, and it was like.
But what I loved was the duality of those two things happening at the same time.
Yeah,
because she's having this extremely painful moment, and everybody's mimicking her, and then on Christian's side, he's having. He doesn't even know what the fuck's going on anymore, and all the women there are mimicking, what's happening, and so they've finally separated completely into two separate things, and they're still experiencing something similar, and that's really cool to me. There's so many little kicks like that in the film.
Yeah, it was it definitely left you thinking for sure, and. You hit the nail on the head with that, Dustin. I like the way that they bounced between the scenes, and it was a shared experience for both of them in their own way. So, that was cool the way they did that, or the way Ari Aster did that. But that leads us all up to the ending, and the ending kind of blew me away a little bit, where to me, and you guys may have a different opinion, to me, she made the decision. She gave him the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whether he was going to live or whether he was going to die. So, and I think it all came shattering in on her when she realized, this guy isn't going to be there for me. He's never going to be there for me. He hasn't been there for me. These people are here for me. So basically, screw him. And she let him go. But I'm curious to see what your take was on the end, both of you. How the ending left you after you let it sink in for a little while.
This last time we watched it, I actually really enjoyed how they filmed him, and it was just him and the face he had when he was about to be lighted on the fire in the bear suit. I thought that was really interesting to see, because she caught a glimpse of him in just that moment. I thought that was cool, kind of like her moment of letting go and his like, oh shit, I fucked up. And I agree with you on that. Like that moment where she found her found family, like she knew that she was going to be supported. She can express her emotions openly with a bigger group of people, whereas before she didn't have that. So her finding that moment, that aha, like this is what it's supposed to feel like this is the family that I needed and I never had, and now I have it. So she was finally comforted in that, and she kind of got the heroic ending. She really did. She got to kill the person that was such a dick, and she was the May Queen, and then she had family. Like, I thought that was an actual really good moment at the end.
I really don't think she had any idea what the fuck was going on. I think she was just experiencing these things that are just happening, and you can see it in her face where she's either smiling, she's laughing, or she's crying. But you got to think all this happened in 2 days?
Yeah.
So like she went from, being at home and things suck to now she's, high as shit on top of a chair, on a throne with flowers, and she's watching somebody burn to death. multiple people burned to death. I don't think she really had a whole lot of cognitive ability. I think she was just kind of experiencing it. Both of them were,
Right.
You know, even though she had the autonomy of her body, you know, she still, I just don't think she was making a whole lot of like deliberate decisions. I think a lot of it was just, they were kind of making the decisions for her, and she's just taking it all in, you know, as this big experience. Like, even like whenever they were trying to get her to eat the fish and stuff, you know, and she's just you know, she's like, I don't understand what's going on. You know, she thought it was funny and everybody else did, but she didn't really have any choices to make. It was already being made for her, and a Christian as well. You know, as soon as they realized they could manipulate him, they did. They put him in every situation to manipulate him. You know, and they also separated everybody. Yeah. As the weekend went on, you know, you could see that they were pushing people this way and this way to where they weren't together, and they could pick them apart.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's very true. In that scene where I saw the foot sticking up out of the ground when Christian was running, that was a very cool scene. I was like, oh, now he's finally getting it. He's finally realizing where these people are going, you know. And then the way he threw the way he was so quick to throw Josh under the bus when the book was missing, you know. We don't even know that guy. So that just, you know, I don't know where I'm trying to go with that, but it just sealed for me what kind of
like Josh at all.
I always thought Christian was meant to be a bit of a metaphor for Christian religion in a lot of ways, as far as like dropping people out at the last minute and all of the twisting of the situation to fit the narrative that they want.
You know, I actually never looked at it like that.
He does a lot of shitty things, and that, you know, that depends on your opinion of Christian, personal beliefs or whatever. But, you know, as far as for the film goes, you know, if you're looking at this culture as being a little more righteous or a little more natural, what he does is come in and do very unnatural things, like lie and backstab and cheat and forget all of these important things. He's just not an honest, good person. And I think, you know, that his name being Christian is not a mistake or a happenstance. It's very deliberate for the film.
Yeah.
All right.
That's actually a broad way to look at it, and I never thought to think it in that.
Well, it's definitely a movie that makes you think. And if you guys are out there and you want to experience the director's cut, you can go to the A24 website, and it's Midsummer, the director's cut. It has a wonderfully illustrated book as the DVD case. I'm not going to show pictures inside the book.
Well, did you know on the sign it's all dongs?
Did you notice that?
It's all dongs.
Yeah, I did notice that, and that's okay because you can't, you know. But what's inside? I can't. I'm not going to open it up.
Little tiny penises.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of interesting drawings in there.
Yeah, I will say interesting. I will definitely say interesting. I will open it to the first page though, because the way they did the
that's so cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is some awesome work. So if you guys want to get a director's cut version, just go to the A24 website and they have them available there. And it comes in this super cool casing. I don't know. It's almost like denim. I don't know. But you can put it on a bookshelf. It looks like a book because it is.
Artistically, that movie was great, though. Like, if you're looking at it with the drawings and so pretty.
Absolutely. One of my favorite films that came out in a long time.
Yeah.
For
this type of film.
Another artistic movie that I like that no one else likes is actual The Lords of Salem.
Yeah, the
artistically,
hour and a half
that
long music video.
Beautiful. God, that was beautiful. And I think people don't look at it like me and him do. Like, it's a long music video, but it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's also shocking at the same time. But, like, the art direction that Rob Zombie had in that was...
See, yeah, that's going to be another podcast because my buddy Bryce and he leans more towards your take on it. And I hated that movie when I first saw it. And I love Rob Zombie, and I couldn't stand that movie.
It's
you gotta watch it more than once though, because the first time I watched it, I was confused. I was
it's the plot's hard to follow because he's just cutting away from shit. But
the music was unsettling though. They picked a good.
Now,
song.
Is it in my DVD collection to make sure that I have all the Rob Zombie movies? Yeah, it is. Do I watch it a lot? No. But we
have a poster we can give him. 31.
We do.
We have 100 of those. I will make sure that is. I'll make sure I get that to you.
All right.
Liking Midsommar to Blue Velvet a lot.
That's another. Have you seen Blue Velvet?
No.
I should have bought
that for you.
We'll get that for you for your birthday.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. You gotta.
Is it still on Amazon?
I'm sure it's on a lot of things, but you gotta watch Blue Velvet by yourself and get back with me, and we'll talk about that. That's
actually a good podcast episode. Film. We should do that.
But you kind of get the what I'm saying whenever you see
in comparison. Gotcha.
It's not at all like Midsommar as far as art and culture and all that, but you'll see the unfolding of a weird, creepy, psycho world happening before somebody that's kind of an outsider to it, and you'll kind of get more.
Daddy wants his bourbon, shithead.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome one-liners in it. You'll just have to watch it and take it.
I'll definitely check that out. All right, we're at 40 minutes into the podcast, so we're going to start wrapping it up just a little bit. I want to thank Dustin for being on, and we're going to have him on again because he is so knowledgeable in the horror field. So we have all kinds of cool things lined up. We have a few guests. We have more than a few guests lined up. So on our next podcast, we have a lot of guests. On our next podcast, this one will be released on January 7th. So Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And our next episode after January 7th will be released on January 21st. And we're going to have a good friend of ours named Henrik Kuto on the show. He is a movie director. He's a writer. He's a podcast host. He's a musician. He does all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to flip a few of his movies up so you guys can see them. And we're going to talk to Henrik about his films and what he has going on. But we have Alone in the Ghost House, which is probably my favorite Henrik Kuto movie. Like that a lot. We have Amityville No Escape. We have Devil's Trail. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see it very well.
Go back just a little bit. You got a glare on it.
Yeah.
I can't see it at all.
Very shiny.
Yeah, that's a shiny. But this one's called Devil's Trail, and I take it as Henrik's take on Blair Witch, but it has nothing to do with Blair Witch. It's more around the New Jersey Devil and the legend behind it. So it's a good movie. And I have another one here called Scare Waves. It's an anthology film, so it has 4 or 5 short stories in there. And Henrik has directed a lot more movies than this. If you go to henflix.com, it's like Netflix, but it's Henflix. It's called henflix.com. You can see everything the man has out there. And he also is the creator of the Babysitter Massacre series. So we're going to have David O'Hanlon on a future episode who's written the Babysitter Massacre books. But he'll be on as well. And Henrik is the brainchild behind that. So we're excited to have Henrik on our next episode. I'm excited that we had Dustin on today. And, today I'm going to be quiet. And I'm going to let Alayna have the last word today because I had the last word on the last podcast. So I'm going to let her talk us out.
Also, since our podcast, this newest episode is going to be released on January 7th, shout out to my little brother. It is going to be your birthday. You are 25. You are old, and happy birthday. Also, thank you everyone who has watched our podcast episode. We are incredibly thankful for the outpour of love and support we have received since we started this project, and we look forward to all of the future endeavors with it. Thank you to all of our future guests we have lined up, and it's been wild, and I'm excited, very excited to keep this going.
Thank you, lovelies.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We hope you had a horrific time, lovelies. Thank you for tuning in to Horror 421, the podcast. Be sure to like us on YouTube and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.